11 sons and passed over to Fort John. And he took them and sent over the brook and sent over all that he had. And Jacob was left alone. And there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of day.
Yeah.
And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him.
Yes, sir.
And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except I bless you. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, thy name shall be no more called Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince thou hast power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou dost ask my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. And as he passed over Peniel, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the sinew which shrank, which is on the hollow of the thigh, unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh in the sinew that shrank. Amen. Amen. We'll look carefully at verse 26. Verse 26 says, and he said, let thee go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. Everybody repeat after me. I will not let you go.
I will not let you go.
Except you bless me.
You bless
You may be seated. You may be seated. I will not let you go, except you bless me. I know many of you are like me. We're human. We have frailties. We have faults and failures, and we struggle. Therefore, we need a blessing. We not just don't want a blessing, we need it. We need a blessing. What I brought with me, young people, and what I brought with me, adults, is a glow stick. A glow stick is unique, and it's very useful. It's unique in the fact, and it's useful in the fact that it gives off light. If you shut these lights off, and if you were in the dark, and I had one of these, you could easily find me because of its usefulness. Its job is to radiate and to give off light. Amen. It's not only useful, but it's unique in the fact, Jahara, Jalicia, in order for it to be used, in order for it to fulfill its purpose, it first must be broken.
That's right.
And then it must be shaken.
You preach it, huh?
Once it's broken, and then once it's shaken, then it can fulfill its purpose. You and I are like this glow stick. We're useful and we're unique. We're useful because in Matthew chapter 5, verse 14, Jesus says, you are the light of the world.
All right.
Huh?
Yeah.
He says, you are the light of the world.
Yeah.
A city that's set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it on the bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light to all that is in the house. Right. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So we're useful because we are light. But like a glow stick, we're unique because in order for God to use us, in order for us to fulfill God's plan and God's purpose for our lives, in order for God to use us to bring men and women, boys and girls out of darkness into the marvelous light, God first must humble us. He first must humble us. Nobody knew that better than Jacob. He knew that in order for God to really use him, in order for God to bless him like God wanted to, first God had to humble him. Y'all know who Jacob is. You know who I'm talking about. Jacob is the one whose father was named Isaac. His mother was named Rebekah. Jacob is the one that had a twin brother named Esau. In Genesis chapter 25, when Esau was born, he came out first because he's the oldest brother to Jacob. He was born first, and Jacob came out second with his hand grabbing hold of his brother Esau's heel. So therefore, Sister Minnie, they named him Jacob. Because the name Sarah Christopher, it means heel grabber. It means supplanter. It means trickster. It means swindler. And it wasn't long before Jacob lived up to his name. Because in Genesis chapter 25, verse 31, Jacob tricked his brother Esau into selling him his birthright for a bowl of stew. The birthright was something that went to the eldest son. The birthright included that the eldest son, when the father died, he would get a double portion of the father's wealth. It also included that he would be responsible for the spiritual welfare of the family. It also included that he will be responsible for the property and the estate. So Jacob lived up to his name. In Genesis 25 and 31, he tricks his brother into selling him the birthright for a bowl of stew. But it didn't stop there, because in Genesis chapter 27, with the aid and the help of his mother Rebekah, he tricks his brother once again. Not only did he steal the birthright, but he steals the blessing. With the help of his mother, he takes away the blessing. The blessing was a legal and binding contract. The blessing also included the father's inheritance, but the blessing included the promised seed and the promised land. So when Jacob got word that his brother not only deceived him, lied to him, tricked him out of the birthright, lied to him, tricked him, deceived him out of his blessing, he tricked him and lied to him and stole everything that he had. So Jacob swore to himself. He said in his heart in Genesis chapter 27, verse 41, after my father died,
Come on, son.
I'm going to kill my brother. He swindled me out of my birthright. He used trickery and lying, and he stole my blessing. When my father died, I'm going to kill Jacob.
Come on, man.
And those words were rehearsed and told to his mother Rebekah. So his mother Rebekah sends Jacob to live with her uncle, with her brother, which is his uncle Laban, in Haran. Jacob gets sent off to live with Uncle Laban in Haran. While he's in Haran, he gains 2 wives, 2 women servants, and 11 sons. That's what he did. In our text today, in Genesis chapter 32, 20 years have passed. 20 years have passed, and Jacob is now, Sister Goldie, he's ready to come back home. In Genesis chapter 32, verse 3, Jacob sends messengers to go tell my brother Esau that I'm ready to come home and I'm coming back his way. The messengers returned in Genesis chapter 32 and verse 6. They returned to Jacob and said, we delivered the message to Esau. In Genesis 32 and 6, they said, your brother Esau is coming to meet you with 400 of his men. In Genesis chapter 32 verse 7, it tells us that Jacob is greatly afraid. Is greatly afraid. So Genesis chapter 32 in our text, verse 22 and 23, Jacob gets his 2 wives, his 2 women servants, and his 11 sons, and he calls them to pass over the ford Joppa. He sent over his animals, he sent over his clothing, he sent over his belongings, he sent over everything he had. And watch this, because Genesis chapter 32 verse 24, the first 5 words says, and Jacob was left alone.
That's right. Come on. Come on.
He's left alone. He's left alone in a state of fear. He's left alone in a state of confusion. He's left alone not knowing what's going to happen to him when he meets his brother again. Because 20 years ago, the last words that came from his brother's mouth, that after our father died, I'm going to kill you. So he sent on his wives. He sent on his animals. He sent on all he had. And he's left alone, confused, in need of a blessing. He's in need of a blessing. He's in need.
He's in need.
But before God blesses us, he first must humble us. Because in Genesis chapter 32, verse 24, those next two words are very key after those first 5 words to understanding this whole chapter. Because the first 5 words says, and Jacob was left alone. But watch this, don't miss the next 2 words in Genesis chapter 24, because it says, and there. What is there? If you look at the end of verse 22, it's the Ford Jabbok. The Ford Jabbok is a stream, Maya. It's a river that flows and connects with the Jordan River. It's a river that intersects with the Jordan. And you Bible scholars, if you remember that on the other side of the Jordan is the place of blessing. On the other side of the Jordan is the promised land. On the other side of the Jordan is the land flowing with milk and honey. So there, Jacob is left all alone. He's right there. All he has to do is put his foot in the stream of the Jabbok River that intersects with the Jordan and cross over to the promised land. But before he can put his foot in the water, a man grabs him, wrestles him, and throws him to the ground. God would not let Jacob enter the place of blessing, enter the promised land as Jacob. As a trickster, as a deceiver, as a heel grabber, as a swindler. So God confronts him. If you're in need of a blessing, God must humble us first, and the humbling involves confrontation. Because the confrontation was designed to change Jacob into Israel. The confrontation was designed to break him from pride, to break him from being so stubborn, to break him from being hard-headed, to break him from doing things in his own strength and his own power, to break him from cheating, to break him from lying. So before, he's right there on the edge. All he has to do, Michael, is cross the Jordan and the Jordan, and he's there. Greater New Mount Zion, New Galilee. You're right on the edge of a blessing. Some of you here, your marriage is about to be blessed. Your finances is about to be blessed. You're about to be blessed on your job. Your children are about to be blessed. You're about to be delivered. You're about to be set free. This stuff is right on the edge. Right on the edge. Right on the edge.
Bless your name, God.
All right.
So there's a confrontation that takes place.
Yeah.
And the confrontation, watch this, it lasts all night long. Because verse 24 says, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of day. Watch this now.
Come on now.
Yeah. The confrontation leads to, Sister Latoya, confusion. Jacob is wrestling and he thinks it's a man. He doesn't realize that he's actually wrestling with God. And the reason he's confused, Sarah Christopher, because the confrontation hurts. Because the confrontation is uncomfortable. Because the confrontation is painful. Because it hurts. Because it's painful. He's mislabeled the struggle. He mislabeled the confrontation. He's confused. Many of you here today, you've been wrestling with God and don't even know. You think it's your wife you've been wrestling with. You think it's your children you've been wrestling with. You think it's your co-workers. You think it's the supervisor. You think it's church folk. You think it's the pastor. And watch this.
Come on now.
Many of us think it's the devil. And don't even realize it's God. And the reason we mislabel the confrontation and the struggle because it's painful. Because it hurts. But God is the one causing the pain. God is the one afflicting us. God is the one trying to break our self-will, trying to break our stubbornness, trying to break us up from doing things in our own strength, our own power, and our own way.
Yeah, Lord.
So Jacob is confused. But the confrontation, yes, it leads to confusion. But watch this. But the confusion and the confrontation leads to contact. Because verse 25 says, don't look at me, look at your Bible. Verse 25 says, and when he saw that he prevailed not against him. He touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. Jacob had no idea that he was wrestling with God. But watch this. It says, and when he saw that he prevailed not against him, Joseph, then he touched him. See, God starts off by applying a little pressure. He starts off by speaking through the pastor. He starts off by speaking through your Sunday school teacher. He starts off by speaking through your children, your wife, speaking through your circumstances on your job. He starts off by speaking to your heart as you read his word. He speaks to you through prayer. And when he sees that all that the pastor's been preaching about is not working, when he sees that the spouse is not breaking you, when he sees that the children are not breaking you, when he sees that your job and your supervisor is not calling you to throw your hands in the air and surrender, when he sees that your peers at school is not getting you to surrender and say, God, I no longer want to do it my way, I want to do it Joe. When God sees that all he's been trying, when he sees that it ain't working, then he'll make contact. But when he makes contact, things get out of joint. Because the Bible said the hollow of Jacob's thigh went out of joint. Sometimes we look around, Sister Mills, and we wonder why my life seems to be disjointed. My finances are out of joint. My relationship with my significant other is out of joint. My relationship with the church folks are out of joint. My ministry is falling and crumbling and falling apart. Every aspect, every area of my life is out of joint. God confronts us.
Cold-blooded.
The confrontation often leads to confusion.
All right.
But that leads to God's making contact. And the reason for the contact, because God knows we're in need of a blessing. He knows we need a blessing. And he's about to bless Jacob. And he's about to bless you. But God wants Jacob to change. Because the contact leads to change. Because verse 32 says, when he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh, it says that the sinew in his thigh, the tissue in his thigh began to shrink. And it caused Jacob to walk with a limp. But not only did the sinew and the tissue shrink in his thigh, a change has now taken place in the life of Jacob. Because not only did the tissue shrink, but his stubbornness shrank. His self-will shrank. Doing things in his own strength, his own power shrank. Being independent shrank. All the things that God didn't like began to shrink. And now Jacob is beginning to change. Beginning to change. Because God made contact. And now the struggle, now his life is beginning to take a new direction. If you need a blessing, you got to change. Some of us are not being blessed because we're still cussing folk out. Some of us are not being blessed because we're still hanging out in the club. Some of us are not being blessed because we're still going home drinking ourselves to sleep. Some of us are not being blessed, young people, because we keep smoking all that weed. Some of us are not being blessed because we keep disobeying our parents. You got to change. You got to change.
Oh, my.
You got to change. You got to change. You got to change.
Lord have mercy.
God
bless you.
Well, watch this. Watch this. Look at the next verse. Look at verse 26. Because, and he said, let me go. For the day breaketh. And he said, I won't let you go until you bless me. You see, Jacob has now changed. He now realizes that he's been wrestling not just with a man, but he's been wrestling with God. For the first time in his life, he realizes that I don't have to lie. I don't have to scheme. I don't have to trick. I don't have to deceive. I don't have to be dishonest. All I have to do is cling to God. Jacob is now clinging to God. In verse 24, God had a hold of him. In verse 26, he got a hold of God. God, now that you broke me, God, now that you humbled me, you got to bless me. I'm not going to let you go until you change me. I'm not going to let you go till you deliver me. God, you wounded me. That you you've been wrestling with. It's not the people on your job, your supervisor. It's not your peers you've been wrestling. It's not the pastor. Now you realize that it's God. Tell God, I won't let you go till you bless me. God, I'm not going to let you go till you deliver me. I won't let you go till you bless my finances. I won't let you go till you heal my body. I won't let you go till you bless my children, God. I won't let you go. I need a blessing and I'm not going to let you go. I'm not going to let you go. All along I thought it was my wife. All along I thought it was the people on my job. All along I thought it was church folk, but God, I realized now that it's you. Now I'm going to cling to you, God. I won't let you go until you bless me. You need a blessing. We've got to change. We've got to cling, but there's one more step. Because before the blessing comes, in verse 28 and 29, when he gets the name change, there's one more verse that we need to deal with.
Go ahead.
Verse 27. Because he says, you've got to change, you need a blessing, you've got to clean, but watch this, there's one more. He says in verse 26, and he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. God, you're omniscient. God, you know everything. You know I'm coming in and I'm going out. God, you know us so intimately and so well. You know what the hairs on my head. God, why would you ask him his name? Yes, he's got to change. He's got to clean. But one more step wrong, he's got to confess. He's got to come clean with me. And he's got to come clean with himself. What's your name? My name, I'm a heel grabber. Who are you, boy? I'm a supplanter. Who are you? I'm a liar. I'm a trickster. I'm a deceiver. Now I can bless you. Now I can bless you. You gotta come clean with God and come clean with yourself. He can't bless you until you come clean. James 5 and 16, confess your faults one to another, that you might be healed. Pastor Clay, it was, I'll never forget it. The year was 2001. The date was April 3rd. My life was disjointed. Had been working for Miss Bear's Bakery for at that time about 15 years. I was about to get fired. I already had 2 write-ups. One more write-up, I would have been out the door. First lady and I wasn't getting along well at the time. My relationship with my children was in a mess. My ministry was falling apart. And I had been crying out to God, God, what's the problem? God, show me what's wrong. God, what's going on in my life? On April the 3rd, 2001, I got up and grabbed my Bible. At 3 o'clock in the morning, Anthony, I sat down on my living room floor. I said, God, talk to me. Help me, God. Tell me I'm about to lose my family, God. Every area of my life is out of joint. What's happening? I opened my Bible and it fell to Genesis chapter 32. And I began to read. And the light bulb went out. William, I said, I got it, God. I was down there for hours. The sun began to come up. I looked out when the sun was rising. I was still sitting on my living room floor with the Word of God open, reading Genesis chapter 32. God was speaking to my heart. And I said, God. Pastor Clay, I closed my Bible and I got ready, Jesus, to get off the floor. And God asked me a question. He said, what's your name? I said, God, you know me, God. You know all about me, God. He said, what's your name? I can't bless you till you come clean. What's your name? I said, God, I'm stubborn. God, I'm a liar. God, I've been hard-headed. God, I've been lazy. God, I'm a trickster. God, I'm a deceiver. God, that's who I am. And he said, now I can bless you. Marriage is blessed, my children are blessed, my ministry's been blessed, every area's been blessed. I'm not here by accident or coincidence. New Galilee, God sent me here to ask you a question. And the question is, what's your name? You got to come clean with God. Confess to God so that you may be healed. What's your name? Tell God I'm a liar. Go ahead and tell him I'm a drunk. Tell him I'm a drug addict. Tell him I'm a deceiver. If you don't confess so that you can come clean with God and come clean with yourself. Until you confess and clean to God and change, He can't help you.
You're right.
All those feet. Bless your name. Confess to God.
All right.
Make a commitment today, God. I'm not going to let you go. All along, I was other people, I was wrestling with. But now, God, I realize with you, God, I'm not going to let you go till you bless me. God, I won't let you go till you bless me. God, I make a commitment today to change. I make a commitment today to quit doing things in my own strength, in my own power, in my own way. God, I make a commitment to confess to you. All over the building, get out of your seats and come down. Come on and stand with me. If you made that commitment, come stand with me. Pastor Clay is going to pray for us. Because I've got some areas I still need to change. I've got some areas I need to clean to God. I've got some areas I need to confess. Who will stand with me and make that commitment today?
Hallelujah. Bless your name, God. Bless your name.
You can't help it unless we come
God, our Heavenly Father, God, we come acknowledging the fact that we sure do need you. We come confessing right now in the name of Jesus. We come confessing that, Lord, we got some anger. But we come right now making a brand new commitment. And Lord, we're not going to let you go until you bless us. We thought I struggled with everybody else, but we realized, Lord, it was you. And we're not going to let you go until you bless us. Throughout this building, Lord, bless like only you can. We need a change, Lord. We don't want to continue down the road that we've been trying to take. So right now, Lord, anywhere except any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Lord, we got a hold of you. You got a hold of us. And we're not going to let you go until you bless us. Thank you, Lord, for Pastor Edwards. Oh God, thank you for this word that you have shared with us. Continue to bless him, Lord, in the name of Jesus. Bless his family, his ministry, his church family, Lord, in the name of Jesus. Lord, I come this evening myself. I want to come clean. I want to confess. I've been a liar, a deceiver, done some stealing. But Lord, I come this evening asking that you would change me, because I'm not going to let you go until you bless me. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah. Yeah, Lord.
Come on, give the Lord a hand clap.
Lord, I'm ready. Yes, God.
Sometimes we just need to listen to the word.
Yeah. Want to do it? Bless you, God.
Sometimes God can help you
Yes, God. Bless you, Lord.
with that mighty word.
Bless you, Lord.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mighty word.
Yes, God. Thank you, Father. Bless your name. What a mighty good God. Lord, you put up with us, Lord. We know we're not right, Lord, but you just keep on putting up with us, Lord. Thank you.
Yeah, Lord. Yeah,
Being the
Lord.
God that you are. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lord. Praise your name. Bless you, Lord. Hallelujah. Bless your name, man. Glory. Mighty good God. I love you, Lord. I love you, Lord. I love you, Lord. Yeah, Lord. Bless you, God. Bless you, God.
Yeah, Lord.
Yes, God.
That's Lord.
Yes, God.
Really want to give this life to the Lord.
Yes,
Good
God.
time.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Thank you.
Mighty good time.
Lord, have mercy, Lord. Yes,
Yeah, Lord, yeah, Lord, yeah, Lord.
yes. Thank you.
Come on,
Hey, so good. Bless your name, God. Thank you. Hallelujah. Yes. Glory. Thank you. Glory. Yes. Hallelujah.
You've been waiting on a blessing, and it seems it just won't come. Doors are shut, things are